Hi and welcome to my channel, which is for adults who've grown up with a narcissistic mother. And in this video I want to talk to you and hopefully help you a little bit by talking about boundaries, because boundaries is certainly one area where you will most likely be struggling, and maybe quite a lot, after having grown up with a narcissistic mother, because we learn boundaries by our closest family members as we are very small and grow up. So it's quite logical that you're going to have problems with boundaries one way or the other when you have a narcissistic mother. But the problem with that is that it's such a shameful thing for people, especially when we're adults, that we don't know where the boundaries are, or we don't know how to set them, and we don't know how, what they should be. There's so many areas around this which is so difficult for people, and actually it's for people in general. People in general, unless you've grown up with a very healthy family who taught you healthy boundaries from the beginning, then if you haven't had that, then you're in the big group of people who just had all sorts of boundaries, boundary violations, inconsistent boundaries, lack of boundaries, or just trespassing on other people or across other people. There are so many different varieties here. So let's talk about boundaries to help you not struggle so much with this and feel so much shame around it, basically. So my name is Åse Wegerif, and I myself have grown up with a narcissistic mother, so I have the experience myself, and also I'm a registered counselor, and I help people one-on-one in my practice, and I'm reaching out here on YouTube to help more people. And if you really find that this resonates with you, then please hit the subscribe or like button, and or both is even better, and or comment if you like that, because I really appreciate the comments that I get. But anyway, whatever you do, you're very welcome. So let's look at this. So I think that I'm going to go through 10 different beliefs that people have around boundaries, and to see, maybe you have them as well, and let's look at them if they're true or not, because very much of what we are controlled by are beliefs and assumptions and experiences that we've had that have been normal for us, but not necessarily for other people. And this is part of the automatic programming that you've had as a child. When you learned it, you couldn't filter out what was actually true or not. And in fact, maybe with a narcissistic mother, it would have been in her interest to give you some false information so that she could use you. So, So I think the first thing is, point one, no one with a narcissistic mother learns healthy boundaries. It simply doesn't coexist. She wants you to be how she wants you to be. She doesn't really care about who you are deep inside, and she wants you to be there for her. So she's completely lacking boundaries for you. She'll be walking all over you and taking from you and using you. So how you expect, when you've grown up with a narcissistic mother, if you expect that you can do boundaries especially in close relationships really well, no, I think you're probably going to have to learn it some way or the other. And the danger of this is, of course, that if you don't have good boundaries, there might be other people like her when you grew up, sniffing out that your boundaries aren't so good and coming to be with you because you don't have these boundaries. Point two is that So your narcissistic mother is basically similar to what the first one was, but so she never cared about your boundaries. So that's what you learned, to not care about your boundaries. So now as an adult, or at least when maybe you have acquired boundaries, but you've learned it, but you had to learn it then, because when she didn't care about your boundaries, then that's what you learned, to not care about your boundaries. And you accept then from other people that they don't care either about your boundaries. So it's kind of a normal thing for you not to have boundaries. And then you get the consequences of that and the effects of it. So what sometimes happens then is that people think that I'm just going to learn some boundaries, how to do it, and then they set them and it goes all wrong, and we just feel horrible, basically, and shameful, and maybe we set too strong boundaries, and it's just more complex than that, because there's no recipe for how you have to do all this out there. It's more of a being in a community, being in a relationship where you learn it over time. So it's also number 3, it is normal to feel a huge amount of shame around struggling with boundaries, not knowing where the boundaries should be, not knowing if you are not setting enough boundaries, or if you're on the other side and that's also wrong. That is normal, because you can't do what you haven't learned. So that is normal, and the shame around this is normal for people to really feel ashamed of it. At the same time, so it's normal, and it's the shame is there, but it's more of a signal then to take yourself seriously, and to wish you never were by your narcissistic mother. But so we're now undoing that. So it's more of a take yourself seriously and get help with this, so that you don't struggle with it moving forward in your life. Because if you have children and you want to learn them boundaries, then you need to model it, healthy boundaries. So yeah, number 4, when you haven't got boundaries right, you risk stepping too far across onto others and being too close to them, or moving too close to other people where you shouldn't really be, becoming too personal too quickly, maybe telling too much about yourself too quickly in the relationship, and so on, or asking them questions about themselves too quickly. Or number 5, you never set boundaries, and then you let others step all over you. So you can be on either misplaced on either side of where the ideal boundary is. So finding the ideal boundary does take some training, but people learn it all the time. But it's something learned in relationship. It's something you learn over some time in a supportive community. And also number 6, this is a big one. If you think that other people know what they're doing when they're setting boundaries, because that's how it seems like. Seems like when you don't know how to do it properly, it seems like everyone else certainly knows how to do it, so you feel really bad about yourself. But the thing is, people have grown up in all kind of families being modeled all kind of different boundaries, and there is a major group of people who struggle with boundaries, either general struggles all the time whenever they have to set the boundaries, say no, or and so on, or there are those who have more problems in certain situations where they become unsure and so on. But people in general, lots and lots and lots of people struggle with boundaries. So it's not simply not true that others don't struggle and that you're one of the few. That is not true. You don't need to feel bad about that, because that simply isn't true. And I understand that me saying this doesn't make you maybe feel different about it, so I do respect that. But it's another weight into it's another reminder on a path to feeling better about yourself. That's what I want to give you in this. And children, number 7, children do learn boundaries by interacting and being free to interact with each other. So when you're a child, there isn't that much shame around not getting boundaries right, because nobody expects you to, and you're just young and small and don't know. So, but if you haven't learned this and been modeled healthy boundaries, which is actually a big part of a lot of people, then you have to learn it as an adult. And it's something that you can learn, but it's also not something that you can just learn in a tiny little, you need to be in a process where you attempt it again and again and get feedback on it. That's how you can learn it. And in a way, I want to say number 8, by the time you learn boundaries when you have a narcissistic mother, it's probably almost that you're going to become an expert at it, because you really get challenged with this when you have a narcissistic mother. And number 9, when your boundaries are solid, then narcissists have a tendency to begin to not show up so much in your life anymore. At least the ones that you can select out of the relationships that you create. Obviously you have only one mother, but in a way, in a spiritual way, narcissists actually come to teach you about different things like self-love, boundaries. So there is a reason for them showing up in your life. And that's also been my personal experience, is that I no longer get these people showing up in my life, so life feels much easier. But it didn't begin with them not showing up in my life. It started with me needing to take steps towards healing. So I hope that this has been helpful to you, and I hope that you can recognize some of this and see that other people also struggle with this. That's one of the benefits that I get as a registered counselor working with so many people, is that so much of what people do struggle with is normal to struggle with. It just depends on what circumstances you had growing up. So how can you learn boundaries when someone doesn't even care about them on the other side? It's not really possible. So I hope this has been helpful. If you would like to discuss your boundaries with me, then you can. There is, in the comments here is my email underneath this video. So you can send me an email and I'll be in touch with you. So for instance, for 3 sessions, we can talk about this, or also I'm considering coming with courses and community. I'll just have to, I'm working on it, so it's not ready yet. But, and if there are things that you would like to tell me, like this is a struggling point and so on, please tell me in the comments or by sending me an email, because then I can create a new video to cover that topic so that other people also can get the help from it. So lovely to be here with you, and I hope to see you again. Please remember to subscribe or like on the video if you did. So all the best to you, and hope to see you again.